The rain in Basin City didn't just fall, it hammered, like fists from a god with a grudge. Streets gleamed with neon reflections, smeared across puddles that smelled of oil, rot, and old cigarettes. Every alley whispered secrets, and every shadow carried the weight of something you didn't want to know. Living here was a negotiation with despair. You woke up wondering if you'd last the day, if the city would chew you up and spit you out before the sun dared to rise. People moved fast, faces hidden under collars and hats, trying to keep dry and sane, though the line between the two was thinner than a razor's edge. The rain didn't just soak you, it sank into your bones, into your luck, into the marrow of your dreams. A flickering street lamp cast jagged light over puddles where corpses and whiskey dreams swirled alike. Everyone had a story, a debt, a vice. Basin City didn't forgive. It didn't forget, and it didn't stop raining. Not for the crooked cops, the lonely bartenders, or the small-time grifters trying to scrape a living from a city that only took. You learned early? In Basin City, the rain was more than weather. It was a reminder. Life here was hard, and the city was harder. And the harder it rained, the harder it wanted you broken. It just turns the blood into a thinner soup. That's what Old Man Cray used to mutter, staring out at the endless sheets of rain in Basin City. The streets ran like rivers of oil and neon, slick with promises that never kept. Every step left a reflection you couldn't trust. Every corner hid something sharp, something hungry. Living here wasn't a choice, it was endurance. The rain didn't just fall. It beat down, hammering the city like it had a personal vendetta. Alleyways steamed with the stink of wet asphalt and yesterday's sins. Windows fogged over with desperation. People moved fast, shadows hunched under soaked trench coats, their eyes glinting with suspicion and fear. Some said the rain washed the city clean. They were wrong. It only diluted the rot, made the pain slippery, harder to grab but still cutting. In Basin City, the cops were crooked, the whiskey weak, and the deals dead before they were made. You learned quickly. The rain doesn't care who you are. It just keeps falling, and with every drop, it thins your blood, your luck, your hope. And if you're not careful, it washes you away entirely. I've got 3 blocks to go. That's what I kept telling myself, even as the rain slapped my face like a fist and the neon signs bled across the wet asphalt. Basin City was alive tonight, but not the kind of alive that made you feel lucky. It was the kind that crouched in alleys, smelled like wet concrete and broken promises, and followed you home with a knife in its pocket. Every step was a negotiation. Puddles hid shards of glass and old blood, the kind that never fully dries in this city. The buildings loomed like tired giants, their windows leaking yellow light and whispers of deals gone wrong. People moved like ghosts, collars up, collars down, carrying their sins like briefcases. The rain didn't just fall, it carved into your bones, into your lungs, into whatever shred of hope you thought you had. It made the hard corners harder, the debts steeper, the nights longer. In Basin City, a block could be 3 steps from survival, or 3 steps to the morgue. 3 blocks. That's all I had, and with every wet step, the city reminded me. Living here was cheap, breathing was expensive, and luck was already drowned. 2 lungs full of glass. That's what it felt like walking through Basin City tonight. Rain hammering the streets like it had a personal vendetta. The neon flickered over puddles slick with oil and old blood, turning the sidewalks into mirrors that lied about who you were. Every inhale was sharp, every step a negotiation with gravity and luck. The city didn't sleep, it prowled. Alleyways dripped secrets, and the steam from manholes carried whispers of debts unpaid. Promises broken, and lives ended before breakfast. People moved fast, hunched under collars and hats, their eyes wary and empty. You could feel the city watching you, waiting for you to falter. The rain didn't wash anything clean. It just thinned the edges, softened the screams, made your misfortune easier to swallow. The cops were crooked, the bartenders tired, the punks desperate, and still we walked, because walking was cheaper than dying. Every block smelled of wet, asphalt, rot, and regret. Every shadow carried the promise of pain. 2 lungs full of glass, and a heart half-drowned welcome to Basin City. Here, survival isn't a skill, it's a prayer. They think they've got me cornered. Rain hammered Basin City like it had a personal grudge, turning the streets into mirrors that lied and puddles into traps. Neon bled across wet asphalt, reflecting crooked faces and collars pulled high against the cold. Every alley whispered threats. Every shadow waited with patience. Only a city that fed on fear could know. Living here was a calculation in inches. The cops were crooked, the punks desperate, and the bartenders had given up on hope long before last call. People moved like ghosts, eyes darting, hands hiding, sins or weapons, never both at once. The rain didn't wash the streets clean. It diluted the rot, made it slick impossible to grip. But still, they're waiting. I pressed myself against the brick of a back alley, breathing sharp, lungs tasting wet concrete and diesel. The city was patient. It didn't care if I lived or died, only that I stayed afraid, that I kept moving, that I paid the invisible toll for every step. Basin City didn't forgive. It didn't forget, and it never, ever let up. They might think they've got me cornered, but in this town, corners are just illusions. They think I'm afraid of the dark. Rain pounded Basin City like it had a vendetta, turning the streets into rivers of black glass. Neon signs flickered over puddles, painting faces I didn't want to know reflections. I didn't want to meet. Every alley breathed danger. Every shadow moved with purpose. The city didn't sleep at 100. The cops collected bribes with one hand and bullets with the other, while desperate men traded dreams for whiskey in bars that stank of wet carpet and broken promises. Life here was a negotiation with survival, and the odds were always stacked against you. I moved like a ghost, trench coats soaked through, collar-up eyes scanning every corner for teeth and knives. The rain didn't cleanse anything, it just thinned your resolve, made your luck slippery, and your heart heavier. Basin City got inside you, and it stayed there, twisting and grinding until you were just another shadow in its neon glow. I wasn't afraid of the dark. The dark was honest. It showed you what the city wanted you to see. And in Basin City, seeing it was the first step towards staying alive. They forgot one thing. I am in the dark. Rain slammed Basin City like it had a personal grudge, turning the streets into rivers of black glass and neon lies. Every puddle reflected crooked faces. Every alley whispered threats. And the shadows weren't hiding, they were waiting. Waiting for me to blink. Life here was cheap, and breathing was expensive. The cops took bribes, the punks fought over scraps, and the bars smelled of wet ash and despair. Every step was a calculation, every glance a gamble. The city didn't forgive, it didn't negotiate, it just pressed on, relentless, soaking everything in cold. Grinding rain that didn't wash anything clean, it only made the rot slicker. I moved like a shadow myself, trench coat plastered to my back, collar high, ears listening for the click of a gun, the shuffle of fear, the whisper of betrayal. Basin City thrived on misery, but it hadn't learned one rule. You can catch what already owns the dark. I wasn't running, I was waiting, and in this city, darkness is a weapon. And tonight, the dark is hungry. I am in the dark. Rain lashes Basin City like the sky's got a grudge, turning streets into slick mirrors that lie about everything faces. Intentions, even hope. Neon signs bleed over puddles, reflecting crooked smiles and collars pulled high. Shadows crawling like they own the place. The city smells of wet asphalt, diesel, and broken dreams. Every alley hums with whispered threats. Every corner hides a debt waiting to be collected in blood. Life erased. T lived it, survived, rationed in stolen breaths and careful steps. The cops are crooked, the punks desperate, and the bars serve regrets on ice. The rain doesn't cleanse it, just thins your patience, your courage, your luck. I move like a ghost, trench coat soaked, collar high, senses stretched to their breaking point. Basin City presses against you, grinds into your bones, but I've learned its rhythm. I don't fear the dark. I am the dark tonight, and it's hungry. The city wants to chew me up, but I've got 3 blocks, 1 shadowed heart, and patience enough to make the rain wait its turn. Basin City never sleeps, but tonight, neither do I.